Hello, fourth grade. You will need your science notebook and a pencil and your observation skills for this activity. Please go and gather those materials. Last time we met, I had you observing soil number one. I had you observing soil number one. And observing means to gather information by noting facts. And you needed to use precise properties: size, shape, color, texture. Well, today we are observing three other soil properties, three other types of soils. So I'm going to change my camera and I want you to get ready to make some great observations. Look at that already, it's different. Okay, start to notice the differences. Start to notice the differences in this type of soil. I'm going to zoom in and I want you to start taking observations about this type of soil. Again, noticing size, shape, what it's made up of, and color. I'll spread it out so that you can see better. All right, I'm going to pause the screen and I want you to write down as many observations as you can. Okay, for soil number 2, I'm showing you the observations I made. In soil number 2, I had a great deal of larger rock pieces. And then I even tried to draw that one looks like it matches. I even tried to draw the shape and the size of the rock pieces. So when I went back to my notebook, I would be able to remember what I was talking about when I was talking about the difference between larger rock pieces and smaller rock pieces, because scientifically, I don't have a measurement. Larger and smaller are adjectives that describe what I'm talking about with size, but if I actually have the drawing of the shape and the size of what I'm saying, it gives me a better understanding of the size that I'm talking about. Now, I also said I felt like this had darker sandy soil inside of it compared to the one that we measured or the one that we observed yesterday. However, I did say it was mostly rocky and it had a rough texture. I'm going to pause it and I'm going to get soil number 3. Okay, take a look at soil number 3. Soil number 3 is very different than the soil you just observed. It doesn't have any large rock pieces. What do you notice about the soil? To me, it's almost hard to see that it's soil because it has so many little tiny rock pieces. It's almost like baby rock or sand that hasn't really ground down yet. I don't even see there's a little bit of dirt. There's a little bit of soily stuff in there. I'm going to pause it and I want you to make your observations. Okay, for my observations for soil number 3, I wrote mostly small rock pieces, and then I drew a little shape of what I saw. There is no larger rocks in here. There are no pieces of large rocks that we saw in soil number 2. Soil number 1, I don't know if you remember, but when I touched it, it was on my fingers and it felt really silky, almost like powder. There isn't really much of that in here. There's a tiny bit, but not nearly as much as soil number 1. And I said it has a rough texture, but ultimately what I'm really seeing is that this is mostly made up of small ground up rocks. I said it's tan, pink, and speckled. Those are the colors that I'm seeing: tan, pink, and speckled. Now what I'm going to do is grab soil number 4. This is soil number 4. Now take a look at that. You might have seen soil that looks a little more like this somewhere. I don't know if any of you ever help your parents, or if your parents have a garden, or if they ever grow anything. But this is looking a little more like what I'm familiar with. Take a look, make your observations. I'll scooch a little bit of stuff around. It looks very different than the other soils that you were just looking at. Please make sure you use specific details when you're making these observations. All right, so for soil 4, these were the notes that I took. I said I thought it looked like dark, brownish black, soft soil. I don't see any sand in here. I really can't see sand, and it is not silky. There's nothing left on my fingers. It is underneath my fingernails though. I said that there are a few large rock pieces. So see that guy? See how I drew the size for you? I didn't measure it specifically because I don't have a ruler out here and I didn't ask you to do that. And then I had some smaller rock pieces. And then this is what it reminds me of. I said, it looks like what I use in my planters at home. Now, I had asked you on Monday to take a look around for soil that you might find around your home. And this was the soil that I found at home. And it kind of makes me think a little bit like this. It's not as dark. It's not as dark, but it sure doesn't have a lot of rock pieces. It has a little bit of rock pieces. It doesn't really look anything. Oh, there's another rock piece. Now this also has some grass in it because of where I found it, but it looks a little more like soil number 4. So this is soil from Indiana. And I'm just looking and making some observations and thinking, I'm making some guesses, this is my hypothesis. I feel like this soil matches most closely to soil number 4 than any of the other soils that I had found. There's not little pieces of pebbles and rocks and things. There's a few, just like there's a few in here, but it's not entirely made up of rock. All right, so what I want you to do is I want you to make sure that you have completed your 4 observations about all of the soils. Go back, replay my video, get some notes taken down, even if you need to copy down some of the ideas that I had. But I know you, and I know that you guys come up with fantastic ideas. So write down your thoughts. I can't wait to hear about them. We are off on Thursday. We will not have science on Thursday. And then on Friday, we will do a so what? Why is this important? Why do I have to know this? And we will come up with a conclusion about what we think soil might be made up of.